Today on the Tim Marner Podcast Show, I've got my friend Michelle Greaves, lifestyle coach, own it, heal it, motherfucking boss it.
Yeah.
So, what is it that you do for people? I've got loads of questions I want to ask you, but let's just sort of like get the base for people. What is it you actually do for people? Talk to me about being a lifestyle healing coach. Yeah?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I do is, like we were just talking about before the podcast, is like people come into this world and as they live their life, they can build like traumas and shadows, and it could be just a little thing at school that's turned into a big thing, like the guy you fancy didn't kiss you, or like trouble at home with mum and dad, or you build up these things over time. And it's a lot easier to just do the stiff upper lip and like ignore it and get on with it, be busy, get a job.
I'm fine. Yeah.
But like what I do is we go back to that. People come to me with stuff from the past that they need to just let go of. So that's what we go straight into first. We like dive into that and heal the stuff in the past that's blocked them from being who they are, like the truth of who they are. So like we take off the backpack of baggage, like of trauma, we take it off.
What do you mean by that? The backpack?
So like over time, like we're born into the world, like as a baby, we come here like fresh, happy, pure-hearted. We know who we are. Like my son, he just knows who he is. He doesn't, are we allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's just himself. So over time, that gets squished, like through school, through like parents telling you what to do. Your authenticity gets lost over time. So like that backpack of baggage, there could be things that happen over your life as like a teenager, child, that you need to go back into, pinpoint, and then just empty them out. So we dive into that deeply, heal it, and then it lightens the load of that bag.
When you say heal it, how does somebody heal something like that that's traumatized them? What sort of, talk to me about that.
It's really hard to explain. Like it's really easy when you experience it, but it's really hard to explain. But it depends on the person. Sometimes we can use like EFT, so emotional
talk to me about
freedom.
EFT. Yeah. What does that stand for, EFT?
EFT is emotional freedom technique.
Yeah.
So we can use that to like, it's like a soft approach into like healing trauma. So it's a tapping technique.
Yeah.
That you can like tap on the trauma, and like someone might be like 20 out of 10, you know, traumatized, like literally like shaken, super traumatized. And with EFT, you can do the tapping points, which are like acupressure points, and you tap on them like there's one here and here, and you tap on them while you're saying, although I have this anxiety, although I have this depression, it's just the way that it is for now. And you like tap through the system. And as you do it, that 20 out of 10 will come down to like, I don't know, 10 out of 10, then 2 out of 10. And you just keep doing it until the person like calms. So with some people, that's the best approach. With others, I also do like intuitive healing that I've just had since I was a kid. So like, since I was a kid, I could always like hear my granddad. He passed away when I was 5, and I could like, I didn't know what was going on as a kid. I could just hear, you know, his guidance kind of thing, and like intuition with people. So like when I tune in and have a client in the therapy room and they lie down on the bed or whatever, I get a sense for where they're blocked. So like usually like an X-ray of like the chakras. So
you're talking sort of like Reiki?
A bit. Like I did train in Reiki, so I'm a Reiki master, but I don't really, like that's what I'm qualified in. And I also did shamanic healing, but it's just more an intuitive feeling of what's going on for that person. So like they'll explain to me a bit before, but then when I tune in, I might see stuff of what's happened in the past, or like sense a real strong block. For example, like a heart, like if they've had a really bad breakup, I can feel the pain in the heart. Like my hand will go cold, and sometimes I'll start crying. Like I can feel the pain, you know. And then, you know, when we finished, I might even just do it for 10 minutes, and I'd be like, oh, I could sense in your heart you had pain, like a strong pain. And then they'll share about, you know, heartbreak or whatever, and then things that have happened in the past before that. And then, so like the first session is more of like a reading of like what's going on, what's the trauma, what needs healing, which chakras are blocked in like the X-ray.
Are people quite open with you within that?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, like I think the people I attract now are quite open to they're at the point where they'll try anything. I do tend to attract people that are like...
I think it's because of the frequency you're putting out there, aren't
Yeah.
you? You're very free,
Yeah.
aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, obviously don't call you dancing, but I'm like, look, Michelle, this is quite sexual, this dancing you're doing. But you just don't give a fuck, do you?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like,
And I think people see that and go, look, if Michelle can be that free, that's what I want for myself.
yeah, I just feel like... So, like, you can have traumas as a woman, right? And, like, you could either let that... Or as a man as well. But, like, as a woman, I tend to work with women. Like... You can either become a victim and let that like squish you. Like for many years I've had traumas myself and like blocked those out. But then I became sick for like 5 years because I'm squishing myself down and I'm letting that stuff sort of be like, not a victim, because I would never call myself a victim, but blocked in who you are kind of thing. And that can make you sick. Like it comes out in physical.
Yeah.
They're really bad. Like I was living in Australia free, wanted to be a naturopath, like super free lifestyle, wanted to stay out there, do uni out there and everything. But then, you know, listen to my parents, come back, box room at university, did business studies, you know, followed the quota and just became sick because it wasn't who I am. It wasn't who I wanted to be. It wasn't what I wanted to do in life. And I think that happens for so many people, unfortunately. And, you know, traumas in the past that I had, like date rape and rape is like... That's happened to me twice.
What do you mean?
So being date rapes on like nights out and then rape. So, you know, big traumas like that, because I share, women will come to me with that trauma and we'll, you know, heal it.
I never knew that.
No. So like a lot of things that have happened in my life, I've had a lot of things happen, so I guess I can be compassionate, you know, to that woman. But also it's like no matter what happens to you, you can have an abortion, you can go through rape, and you can
that shame that comes
abuse.
with that.
Like shame. Parents could have beaten you up, like anything. There's so many things, but so many people let them drag that down, develop anxiety, depression, like they squish the sexiness, squish the shame, like, or no, become shameful. And I don't know, and I hate seeing that in a woman, you know, like not able to sort of just be who they want to be, like wild and free. As women, we should be able to be feminine, we should be able to be free, we should be able to be sexy and, you know, be confident in that and own it. And when I see a woman sort of, you know, lacking confidence and, you know, locking themselves in the house because they don't want to leave the house, like depressed, like riddled with anxiety, and they're actually a fucking angel, right? Like I meet these clients and I'm like, oh my God, your energy is like angel energy. You're like such an amazing woman. Yeah, but I'm just full of anxiety. I'm sitting at home. Blah, blah. It's like, no, we need to heal that. We need to heal that and get you out of that. And the main way to do that is heal the trauma, whatever it is, whether it's like a little one, whether it's rape, whether it's childhood trauma, whatever it is, heal it, get rid of it, and then step into your power as a, you know, as a woman.
That's really meant that, mate.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? I've wanted to ask you this for a while, right? And I'm obviously, LB's made a really nice connection with you and stuff. And my sort of relationship with death of my dog dying, that I feel like it's going to absolutely destroy me. And obviously, I want to know because you've been through that with your mum.
Yeah, I've been through that with my mum. I lost my mum last year in February.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Like, you know, I've experienced traumas in my past, but fuck me, that was like huge. And yeah, in losing my mum, I'd say the best thing to do with losing, you know, a parent, someone you care about, or, you know, even a dog, like losing my 2 dogs, which I lost at Christmas, that was so hard because I love my dogs like people, like you.
Yeah.
Like, I love my dogs the same as people, if not more. Like, so yeah, first losing my mum, I think it'd be easy to slip into, block it out, carry on working, busy. And I've seen this with people, 10 years, like, oh, I've not grieved. And so, like, my best advice for that, of what I'd experienced, is give yourself time. Like, slow down the work schedule, give yourself space. Like, you've got to feel it. You've got to give yourself the space to feel it. And also not being too positive. Like, I was like, right, I'm going to have a good Christmas. I'm going to have the best Christmas ever. And I had a great Christmas, but Christmas Day, like for me, I lost my mum, and Christmas Day was like a real trigger for me because that's the day she realised she was gonna die. She came out of hospital Christmas Eve, and we went out for Christmas lunch, and she was like looking at this picture, like collage I'd bought for her, and it was all the memories of all of us with the kids and everything. And she just burst out crying. She's like, I'm not going to make it, am I? And I've got that picture of her face when she realised that's it for me. So on Christmas Day a year later, going for lunch with my son or whatever and family, after it, I was just weird. I was just in a weird mood, and I was like, yeah, oh, here we go. You know, it's the funk of it. Like, I can feel that trigger.
And did you embrace it?
Yeah,
did you
so
embrace the thing?
Ollie's with his dad. I went home, got into bed for like an hour, cried, was like so upset, called my sister, was like, how are you doing? And that's a really good shout as well, calling someone you trust, because they lift you up, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm feeling it. You know, but she was all right Christmas Day because it wasn't a trigger for her. So she supported me. And then I was like, no, I'm going to get back up. I want to have like a nice evening, you know, but I really felt it deep. And I think that's the best thing you can do is like when you lose someone you love, whether it's a parent or dog or a friend or whatever, you just give yourself a space to feel it and like don't block those feelings, like embrace them more. Yeah,
I think that's what I'm worried about the most is just blocking the feeling out of, you know, I kind of think about Buddhists and stuff like that and the detachment that they can have and just celebrate the dog's life and be happy. But I just like, it don't feel right to me that I want to do that because it seems really easy to do that. But like, I'm like, I need to embrace being sad, I think, and kind of love being sad, and not be scared away from it. I just wondered what you're related, because obviously, you know, you've been through a massive loss with our Dawn. Shout out to Dawn, I know you're listening.
Oh, yes, love it. Yeah, she'll be dancing. I think I'm quite lucky though, because like I said, from when I was 5, like I always felt my granddad's presence, and then I knew when my mum passed, I'd feel us all. So, you know, there's been so many times, like me and my sister went to a spa and like the lights started flicking and we were doing cards and one like flew out and we read it and it was like, you know, those packets of cards we always used to do them. We read it, we were like, oh my God, that couldn't be more mum, that is too weird. And there was like loads of things like that have happened, like signs and stuff. So
I've got my meditation station at home, and on it I've got the necklace that she gave me on the second thing, so I always kind of sort of remember when I'm doing my meditation and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So like I feel it with me, and it's been hard, but what's been hard about it isn't really like mum dying, that was hard, but really it's the other stuff around it, you know, that was actually made it a lot more stressful, like family and like I think it needs to be talked about a bit more, death, because
I do that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. It can be, and I think people don't want to talk about it, and it's almost a bit taboo, the word death, and I'm like, no, it kind of needs to be sort of celebrated in a sad way for something. I want to be all right with it. I want to be all right with being sad, I think.
100%. And like, we with the kids, I'm really proud of how we were as well. Like they wanted to see a body, actually. Like we said no to that, but like I wish we said yes now. My son still says, why didn't you let me see Nana's body? And I think being real is so important. Like with my granddad dying, I didn't go to his funeral or nothing. Like I was really not included. Whereas with my son and my sister's kids, they like walked down with my mum, so the boys like honoured her and walked behind the coffin carrying, and like my niece, she had like flowers to give out to everyone, and they came, and like just before she was buried, like they were putting flowers in for the nana, and they're tiny, they're like 5, 3, and my niece is like 8, so it was like we really involved them in the process of death, and like we talked to them about it a few months before. Me and my brother-in-law were like, how should we approach this? How should we talk to the kids about it? And I think like how we did it was amazing, because we kept it quiet for a bit until we knew that she wasn't going to make it. And then like a month before, or so, we're like, you know, Nana's really sick and we're not sure, there's still hope, but we're not sure she's going to make it and things. And I think how we dealt with it was really, really supportive of the kids, and just being truthful and honest, like you say, not being taboo.
It's nice, isn't it? Because most people just keep it from the kids, and the kids don't. But you're saying that I don't think she's going to make it, and
Yeah.
It's what a tough conversation to have, and how do you handle that, how do you deliver that, but you can't, you just got to tell the truth, haven't
Crazy
you?
how kids deal with, like, my son. I mean, he is like an angel energy, but he was just like, Nana's fine, mummy, she's gone to the stars, she's fine, like, it's all good. Like, they don't attach, like you said, the Buddhist thing, they're detached.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, Nana's, I mean, he's had the odd cry, but in general, he's at peace with it. I think he found the dogs quite tough though, because, you know, they're there 24/7.
Yeah.
But again with the dogs, so we went down to the vets. My first dog Monty had 2 golden retrievers, twins, and my first dog Monty got cancer just before Christmas. Again, cancer, so all cancer, and he's 9, so it was really unexpected. And he just got really, really sick. And it's like a hard thing to do. A lot of people, you know, are saying, oh, you should keep him alive, blah, blah, blah. But I know my dog, he was sick. And I'm not going to, you know, do that to him. If he's suffering, I'm going to, you know, put him to sleep, because I knew that was the best thing for him. And I took my son with me. So we went to the vets, and he came in, said goodbye. And then he left to go to reception. I asked him, do you want to stay for lethal injection, or do you want to go out? And I described to him what it'd be like. Like, the vet said they can, like, get jerky and do a big deep breath or something. And he was like, no, I want to wait in reception. So he waited. And then I did the lethal injection bit. And it was actually one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Like, hard, but also really beautiful, because, you know, you're having that cuddle and they're really, like, sleepy.
Yeah, it's triggered me, you saying that.
Really?
You know, yeah, it really has triggered me saying it. Yeah.
In a way.
My first dog I took to the RSPCA to be put down, and the guy came out, took him, and just went, and I didn't have a chance to say goodbye.
Oh God, that's awful.
Yeah.
So it's about how death is managed, and again, it's like, you've got to talk about it. It needs to be a nice setup. You know, like we talk about birth, like, oh, how do you want to have your birth? What's your birth plan? What do you want? But like, that is so traumatic for you, because you didn't get that, like, moment with your dog before he or she, was it he or she? He. Yeah. Before he went, so he was just gone.
Yeah, it fucked me up, man. But the mushrooms showed me that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that it was
praise
still, I was still praise the mushrooms. Yeah, that it traumatised me, that. And I didn't think of anything of it, and I'm like, look, I need to deal with that. Need to be all right with that.
Yeah, well, the thing that shook me up most about my mum, I wasn't there at the end. Me and my sister weren't called, so when she was in her last moments and on morphine, we didn't know about it, so we weren't told. And that was probably the hardest thing I found in losing my mum, was not being able to say goodbye. Like you said with your dog, like, you should be, whether it's a vet, whether it's, you know, stepdad, whatever, like, you should be in the loop.
Yeah.
You know, with that. Do you know what I mean?
It just goes right through my body. I'm just like, I keep thinking that dog was with me all my life, every step of the way. In the last moment, I wasn't with him.
Exactly, yeah. But he would have been fine. What was his name?
Shiny.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
But he would have been fine, because dogs just know. They just, I mean, the vet said, wow, when Monty went, he just went so quick. Like, he was just gone. She's like, wow, he went really quick. And I bet yours did too, because they just, as soon as they're ready to go, they just fly, animals.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the attachment like us.
Yeah.
So I think you did the right thing.
Yeah, I definitely did the right thing. I know, like, but I was just
Why didn't the vet let you go with him?
I don't know what it was. Look, I'm gonna call it a gift. It, like, maybe rushed, maybe saw that I was kind of walking around the shop with him, pretending I was looking for things, because I didn't want to watch. And I think maybe the guy knew. Yeah. And it's just like, this is gonna be. He might traumatise me actually doing it. So that's what he did for me.
It's
so
quite tough being there, seeing it as well. Yeah, like, for when I put Maya down, it's tough. Monty I was all right with, because I knew it was his time, and boys are a bit more obvious, aren't they? Like man flu and all that. He was just like, ugh, you know, on the floor, and I was like, right. But then when it came to Maya, she had exactly the same blood results, cancer, exactly the same as her twin brother. Yeah. And she was so sad, she just wasn't going to recover after Monty. Like, she wasn't ill, and she became sick, which shows the power of emotions, like, making us poorly. But, like, with her, she was trying to mask it. So even though I could tell, because I knew her, she was really poorly, she was trying not to show it. Yeah. It's like on the day I was like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Like, I knew I was deep down. And then when they gave her the lethal injection, she used to make this noise, like a little growl noise, like ah, or something like that. And she went to sleep. And then when my son came in to see the body, she did that. It's like she let out her last breath, and it was that noise. And she's like, ah, and then Ollie was like, what? That's crazy, Mum. Like, she just did that noise. And yeah, it was really beautiful. So I think it's feeling the emotions around death, but also seeing it as like, it's a beautiful thing and we shouldn't be attached to it. And like, let souls fly and...
let souls fly,
yeah,
like
let
that.
souls fly and like not hold on too much, you know?
Yeah, I do that. I do that. I know I'm going to do that, but I don't want to do that. I need to let his soul fly when it's time.
You just call me, I can do it.
That's beautiful, that, isn't it? So when you what sort of people are you attracting then? What frequency are people getting drawn to you? You know, what sort of clients are you working with?
Beautiful energy people right now. It's really nice. Like women that have like a super strong angel, beautiful energy, but then are just trapped with how society sort of influence them over time, you know. They're the ones I'm attracting at the minute.
And is that what you love doing the most? What is it that you, out of everything that you do, what is it? Are you doing this? It's like Michelle Greaves' why that you don't want anybody to feel like you felt.
My why is I want them to feel how I felt. Like I want them to feel the trauma that they've experienced 100%, like feel it, because that's the only way to heal it. But like I don't want to see women not in their power. I want to see women in their power and bossing it, life, you know, living life and being happy. Because
what is that? What is happiness? What is that for you? When someone's happy, what is that?
Just living life how you want to. Like you said before, you're having like a date day every day. Just living life how you want to live it and what works best for you. And like, you know, I'm a mum, I've got a 5-year-old. A lot of my life is dedicated to my son. But I choose to have a property business so I can wing it a bit and have my time free for the school run. And then do the therapies with women because I love it and it fills my heart with like joy and peace. And like I love dancing and cooking, so just to throw that in there. And like I love, you know, I never thought I'd be a football mum that gets up at like 8, you know, at football for 8:45 on the weekend. Like we missed it this weekend. I was like, oh damn, I love going football. So it's like rolling with life and rolling with the punches and like rolling free and like living the life how you want to rather than like this is how you should live it.
What is it like being a single mum? What was that transition of, were you married?
Yeah.
And then you got a divorce?
Yeah.
And then when you became that single mum, was that the start of your journey becoming that? What was
the start of the journey?
Yeah.
There was like 2 steps in it really. So like the first step, I was living it free, so I just got on a plane, moved to Australia when I was 18.
Yeah.
I was with an Australian boyfriend at the time. I just wanted to go. As soon as I was free, I passed my driving test instantly. Like 17, I was like, let's go, you know. So I just got on a plane, went to Australia, and I couldn't believe it. Like going out of that Cheshire bubble where I'm from, of like, you know, designer handbags and I always felt not in with that. Like I went to a private girls' school, and I was just like, oh, doesn't feel like me.
Yeah.
Then when I go to Australia, I was like, this feels like me, you know, meeting people from all over the world. And like I worked for 6 months there, then travelled like New Zealand, Bali on my own. So just went on my own, or met a girl that I worked in a bar there, like met a girl there and we travelled together and just met people from all different cultures. And I was like, wow, I love this life. And everyone was so fit and healthy in Australia at the time. And I was like, oh my God, like naturopathy was really big over there. I was like, I love the natural healing. This is what I want to do in my life. So I think the first step was in when I didn't listen to that. So then when I moved back, I went to Manchester and listened to like, you know, what my parents...
Why did you move back?
I kind of spoke to my parents about it. I was like, this is what I want to do.
But Dawn said that to move back.
She was a bit different back then.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she sort of like went on quite a spiritual journey and stuff.
Right. Yeah, because she was a quite successful businesswoman before that.
Yeah, so she was quite businessy. I can't remember properly like the reason, but when I mentioned it to my dad, uni was quite expensive to do abroad as well. So it was like, that's going to cost loads of money. You're probably better off coming home. I don't know, maybe they missed me. Everyone has their own projections, don't they?
Yeah.
But they were like, no, you need to come back to, you know, uni. I couldn't afford to do it over there. And also, you know, naturopathy, back then it's well known now. Back then, naturopathy was like, what the fuck's naturopathy? They knew in Australia, but England, it was just like, no, you need to do a proper degree, you know. So moved back, did the proper degree, and I'm kind of glad I did because I met Ollie's dad at uni. I wouldn't have had my son if I'd not flown back. But yeah, just the way I love business, but the way the university degree was at the time was like, it was boring. It was like so structured and like it was just repeating articles back in exams. And I was like, well, I can do that. That's easy. But it turned into like a lot of like partying, drinking, rather than like actually exciting business. If it was actually what you were studying was interesting, I would have loved it. But it felt like I was just like navigating away from who I was.
Yeah, you're basically not getting fulfilled or no meaning to your life.
And living in a box room, I'd gone from surfing beaches in Byron Bay and living free to like this tiny little room. I was just like, oh, this isn't for me. Yeah. So it started off like, I think I got IBS, then underactive thyroid, polycystic ovaries, like was told I couldn't have kids. Like my whole health just plummeted like drastically. And then I fainted at the wheel of my car in second year, just passed out. I kept fainting all the time. It's like my body just gave up on me. Crashed my car on my granddad's day that he died. And weirdly, I'd had my washing that I'd done at uni in the back and it like flew in front of me. My airbag didn't go off, but it flew in front of me. Like I crashed at like 60, like it was...
Fuck.
Yeah, and I think he saved my life because all my washing flew in front of me and my windscreen smashed. I had like glass in my throat. But I survived, and my mum showed me a picture of the car, and I was like, geez, like, I'm lucky to live. So after that, I just thought, fuck this, like, my health, you know.
That was that pivotal point,
yeah,
you were like...
Yeah, so that was the first step, was like this crash. After that, I was like, right, you know, I need to get healthy, I need to get back to who I was. So on this, like, journey of, like, tried everything, nutrition, meditation, probably went too strict on the nutrition front for a while to try and learn about it, and then... The thing that healed me was emotions. It was emotional stuff, you know, like going back to heal the things in the past. That's what.
How did you do that?
So I'm trying to remember. Like at the time, I think I was working with like a therapist at the time, and we went back to traumas and healed them in the moment, which is what I do now as well. I didn't discuss that bit, where you like close your eyes and go back to that trauma and we forgive the person and we go through it at the time. A bit like mushrooms, but I guide it without the mushrooms.
Right.
It's hard to explain but easy to experience, and that was the first step. And then lived life, went to London, was working on a horse yard, like I did like a nutrition degree for a little bit because I wanted to learn more about nutrition. Met an ace Brazilian friend and we like to live totally free in London. Lived together and like we'd make pancakes and like I don't know, it just felt like living free again, more like me, you know. And I loved working on that horse yard as well. There's like 21 horses I was looking after. So I got back to myself, moved to Cornwall for a year. It was like total healing journey. And then I realised that there was more stuff. Probably over after the divorce, I did heal a lot of trauma then as well. I started doing EFT sessions then. So I did like EFT sessions online because I was like a busy single mum, like I had my son all the time, like day and night. So the step 2 in like, you know... When
you got married to the fella, did you lose yourself or was that a good connection with that person?
It was a good connection. So it was like, we were together 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was a great relationship. Like
right.
We had good vibes and
yeah,
we got on really well. Like 10 years, it was amazing.
Right.
We probably argued once a month, you know, when I was due on or whatever, but that's normal. And then, I loved him to pieces. Like we were good, really good. And so he proposed and we had Ollie and we thought it was forever, you know. We did split when we were in London because we met at uni, so it was quite young. So we were like, oh, do we want to be together forever? We're not sure. So we split for a year. And then we decided to, you know, give it a proper go. And it was that wedding was amazing. Like we had it in Ibiza, had like the hen do out there just before the wedding. Mm-hmm. My sister organised it, and then the wedding party it was all flow. So because we were in flow and in love, like everything just flowed. Like it was the best week ever. Like it was just amazing. But then after that, had Ollie. The birth was quite traumatic. That was quite a traumatic day. And yeah, I think the first 3 months were all good, but then his dad he just changed as a person. Like he wasn't the person that I knew. He started to hate and resent me, and he just completely switched to the person that I married and fell in love with. So he left when Ollie was 6 months, and that was a really hard year. You know, like taking it to lawyers, divorce, like about money, again, like death, it's all the other stuff around it. Him
Yeah.
leaving wasn't the problem, but the rest. So it was really challenging because we had like 6 properties together as well that we'd built a business together. So we had to, you know, do all the legal documents on that, and it was hard. And yeah, at the time, like managing all those properties, like all the tenants within them, he just walked away from it all and decided he wanted to start a new life. So I had like a 60-month-old baby, had to take on this business and make money for us. So I was meant to be on a year's maternity at that point. So I was like, shit. And I was in a big country house, I had 2 horses, 2 dogs. So I was like, fuck. And it's like one of those things in your head where you're like, right, I could be a victim and cry the single mum thing here. Or I say, fuck this. This is the life I want. So I felt it. You know, I was crying on the kitchen floor. I'd put sad songs on. I'd be crying. I'd feel all the emotions. But in the back of my mind, in my spirit, it's I'm doubling my income next year. You know, I'll take on these properties and then I'm going to double it. You know, so...
Where does that come from?
I don't know.
It's just in you.
It's in me, yeah. You know, my dad and my mum, they both have it though.
Yeah, your mum was ruthless, weren't she?
Like they both just believe they can make whatever they wanted. They could have a life of their dreams. They can do whatever they want, and money is never an issue. So I was raised that you can do whatever you want like that. So I'm thankful for.
But you still got it in you,
It's
even
in me. Yeah, it's in me.
That
like
fire.
It's just there, and it's like what I can't stand in people is like when they get so lost in the head or emotions that they're just swimming in sort of like victim.
Yeah.
And I love helping people get out of that because it's just like, no, you don't need to. All you need is that inner fire of like, okay, I'm in a shit position right now, but you, at the end of the day, you're the only one that can get you out of it, get you out of that, you know, pain and sadness. And I'm getting quite a lot of people that have just broken up relationships at the minute as well, which I like working with because I've been there. But yeah, it was tragic, and that was probably the hardest year of my life was after that divorce because I was up all night with my son and had him all day and was trying to manage a business.
Brutal, wow.
Yeah, and then he's in nursery. I started him in nursery when he was 1, like a day a week, then 2 days a week, and then had therapies, 2 full days of therapies, 2 days a week, and then I was working in a cafe as well because I was like, I need to bring it. You know, it's expensive, like nursery fees and all that. But I did. You just gotta like, I think, flow with life and just if you can flow and roll with life and keep that inner fire, that's how you can be bossy.
So, how long did that sort of last for until you found Michelle again, the spiritual side of Michelle? How long did that last for?
Yeah, I think probably a year. I had like fuck off written on my forehead to like all men. I was like, no. And it was just like, I had a Saturday, so he was with his dad on a Saturday day.
Yeah.
And I'd like dress up nice because I was just in, you know, like no makeup, mum clothes, like you're just all about your kid breastfeeding. So Saturdays was like, right, I'm putting on a nice dress or jeans and wearing what I want, and just went to a cafe and wrote books. I did a lot of writing then, you know. So I was like writing like poetry and raps and getting my emotions out through words.
Raps.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. I only just remembered. So I was like getting it out through words, and I was like, go to a cafe, I'd see people I know, and I'd write my book, and I'd have nice food, and that was my Saturday. So like, I think the self-care, having that one day, like, was just everything. And then I did the EFT session, so whenever I felt like, oh my God, the pain's too much, like I called, booked a session, dived into it, healed it. And in doing that, other traumas came up, like the rape one, for example. I just blocked that, like I'd forgotten about that in my life. Until the pain of, like you said on the mushrooms, until the pain of that divorce, I think sometimes it can bring up other stuff to heal.
Yeah.
So I was healing then some older trauma.
How do you heal something like that?
It's not that hard, that's what I mean. And this is what, like, some people can stay wrapped in that for a whole lifetime. But first of all, admitting it, doing the tapping, actually seeing the event happen again in your mind's eye, like forgiving the person that's done it, which you can, and going back to that moment. You can go back to that moment, and with the right therapist or person with you, you can heal it, like in your mind's eye, like doing something like shamanic, like mushrooms or something. You just go into it, feel all the pain, and then you can move past it. And I think my favourite clients, like you said before, was like, you know, people that have been through big stuff like that, like, you know, young girls that's happened to, helping them heal that, and then them live life, you know, them to live the life of their dreams and just let it go and it not hold them back. Like that's the
Yeah, I
best
can
thing.
tell when you...
Yeah, that's the best thing.
Yeah, your eyes
I
look
love
when
seeing,
you're talking
I love seeing
now.
that. Yeah.
So it took you sort of a year to get out of that, and you kind of can find Michelle a little bit again. You're feeling a bit like yourself again, where you're free and stuff.
Yeah.
What's your relationship now with men like?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen someone now. It was good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, I'd say like after the birth, so the birth was very traumatic, and like as a woman, it took a while to get over that. Like I had to do a lot of physio. My abs like ripped. I had to do a lot of physio and training to get my body back.
Yeah.
And you know, 6 years later, I'd say it took like a good 4 years to
Yeah.
fully get it back, which is hard, like as a woman.
So even though, like, you know, your ex-husband did that to you and left you, and you've got, like, obviously trust issues around that, how do you get over something like that, where you know that anybody can kind of change?
Question. Yeah, because when he left, you know, he was on the Bumble, Tinder, blah, blah, blah. It's like it's the usual story, innit? So, you know, for me, when he went down that route, like we were trying to work it out, and I found out he was, you know, seeing someone else on Tinder or whatever, asked him about it. And when I had the truth of that, for me, I had a trip to Florida booked with my son to see my dad. And I said in my head, as soon as I get on that plane, the door's shut and I'll never look back. Ever. So like for me, it was, you've got to close the door. Like you've got to close the door on it. Otherwise, and I think, I don't know what it is. It's like that fire thing. Once something's shut, it's in the past for me, it's gone. That's it. I never look back, only forwards. So like, then it was moving forwards, and like, I dated a couple of guys. Like after the year, I dated a couple of guys, and it's hard because if you've had a really loving relationship, like that was like 10 years and it was really, really good, you're obviously going to compare to that or better. So for me, I'd date and I'd be like, nothing's really comparing to that or better.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people do that though, don't they?
Yeah, but you're just natural, isn't it? It's natural. So like, and really it was my standard. It's like, it has to be as good as that or better.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to let that person in because I've got my son. So I dated a guy for a year, you know, he wanted to move in, all that kind of thing. And then I was just like, no, because I don't love him. And it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't...
That soul connection.
Yeah, it wasn't that soul connection. And I wasn't settling for less than love, basically. So I don't think I let it diminish that. I think I was really lucky to experience love, because once you've experienced it, like, yeah, that's what you should go for. Like, I don't know, yeah, aim high kind of thing.
How do you help people? Because like obviously it's a big trust issue, isn't it? Somebody's betrayed you.
Yeah.
They've been in your life for 10 years.
Yeah.
You've got that soul connection, and then all of a sudden they just betray you. It's like, how do you've got that fire in you to shut that door and kind of go, look,
See you
fucking,
later.
yeah, I know, but you've
Yeah.
got that within you. How do you help other people get to that?
Like, you've got to first of all like heal all the pain. So like, you know, that year it wasn't easy. I
Yeah.
felt it, you know,
Yeah.
I felt the pain, and I found my own way to sort of process that pain. And it's different for everyone. Like, it's an
Have you got to
individual.
forgive him?
Oh, 100%, yeah, 100%.
That's what people have got to do, is basically forgive in order to move on.
Yeah, well, I think it's learning to... I think women do this quicker than men. It's like me and my ex, and I'm experiencing this with clients as well. I think men block it out for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying everyone, just majority of what I've seen so far. Whereas women feel it straight away.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this yesterday, and I'm just like, I just give it stiff fingers, mate. I'm just running. Like, see you later.
Yeah.
Like, and just don't deal with it. Just like block out. See you later.
Yeah.
Fucking cut it out.
But I think
Just like dead pathetic.
it's a man
like
thing,
whatever.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I think, so like, women come to me after a breakup, they're like, yeah, but he's moved on, he's really happy, he's with someone else and he's living his best life, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, my ex did too. And I think as women, it can get into that trap of like, oh no, like they're, you
Yeah.
know, and worrying about that obsessively.
Yeah.
But if you just like, no, I blocked, you know, block social media, see you later. If he's out, he's out. Like, it's family, everyone, in a nice way, but, you know, bye. You've got to close that door. So the first step is close the door. And then the second step is feel all the pain. And I think for men, that comes a bit later. Or, you know, if they're spiritual and connected, you can face it sooner. But as women, they seem to naturally just experience it straight up. So I'm just there as a support while they feel that pain. And then when they're ready, it's like, right, who are you? Like, what can you do to get back to you? Is it traveling? Is it like dancing? Is it the gym? Is it, you know, what can you do for you? And get that self-care back in, like the date days and stuff. Get that back in, heal all the pain, and then it's like, right, what do you want next? You know, and with women it might be that they want kids, or they want, you know, they want a full-on relationship. It's like, but if you're swimming in that, you're never going to get that. So it's just healing the pain, closing the door, and then looking to the future.
So shit, that, isn't it? It's just like the trust issues, like, and it's just getting over that. You know, you got that on your back now. You're like, I'm going to another relationship. That person's gonna do that to me again.
Yeah.
You kind of got that in the back of your head. It's like, how do you let go of that? How do you let go of the fact that another person could do that to me again?
Yeah, well, they could, couldn't they? I mean, you've got to just dive in anyway. Like, anything can happen in life. We only get one life. Like, yeah, someone might cheat on you. Someone might go with someone else. Like, what are you going to do? Just never love because of that? Missing out on a lot there.
True, that,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it like that before, just embracing the fact that it could happen to you again and be all right with it.
Yeah. And, I mean, hopefully not, but you can't control it, can you? You can't control it. So...
What's the biggest thing that you've learned through doing everything?
Like through my journey or
the fights? Through your journey.
Through my journey. The biggest thing I've learned is to have your own fucking back. Like, have your own back. If you're... Like, that year after the divorce, it was so lonely. Because, and I hear this a lot with women, like, it was so lonely because I was in with my son every night. And I'm quite a out there kind of person. I like going out, like, you know, chatting to people. It was lonely, and I'm just so happy that I went through that, because by experiencing that loneliness, being alone a lot, it was only me that could have my own back. So, like, yeah, the biggest thing I learned was having my own back, being strong on my own. I know I can do anything, and that's a good place to be in.
If somebody wanted to book in with you, how do they do that?
So I haven't, like, recently, it was social media, but I've recently been off it, like, the last 3 weeks. But, like, usually Messenger or Instagram or email.
It's just at Michelle Greaves.
Yeah.
And the website is www.michellegreaves.co.uk.
.com. Yeah.
And they can just book on with you.
Yeah, or Instagram.
Come in for a session.
Instagram message or through website's good. Yeah. Book a one-to-one.
Good, that, weren't it?
Yeah.
And you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I like your insights into things, mate. I don't think we've ever talked on this level before, have we?
Did we go way off topic, or was it all right?
I don't know. It just fucking flowed.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is kind of flow in it, but your way of looking at it, I saw in your eyes then when you started talking about helping girls out.
Oh my God.
That,
I know. A particular girl in mind.
I know, it's cool because, like, I can see it in you, because I know that you don't want people to feel how you felt. You want them to feel it, but not ever be like how you was in that moment. And that just, like, I would like that. It's such an amazing brand purpose, that.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think I'd realised that till this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and I wanted to mention the rape thing and things like that, because it's like, well, if no one mentions it, then it's not going to get talked about, is it? Or those women won't be like, oh, I want to work with you. I want to actually face that.
I'll finish the podcast off. Book out with Michelle, everybody. She's fucking amazing. What is the dancing thing? Why the dancing thing? Just before I shut the podcast off, why the dancing?
Why the dancing?
Yeah, why the dancing? It's a big part of you, innit?
Oh, it's huge. Like, yeah, I suppose when I went to Australia, I was like, I don't know whether to share this or not, looking inside of me.
No, there's no editing, it's going in.
Oh, God. Well, so I was, like, doing, you know, jobs, like, to be fair, the pay was pretty good there, like $20 an hour or whatever, like, for bar work, catering. But then I started travelling, spent the money pretty fast. And then as you travel coast to Australia, there was loads of, like, wet t-shirt competitions. So I was just like, well, that's like £700, you know, I want to get that. So I just entered myself into them all down the East Coast, and you could see that's trashy, or I just wanted to make a bit of money.
I don't think you give a shit, do you?
I didn't give a shit. So I picked my song and I just got on a stage and started dancing. And then obviously they put water on your t-shirt, big deal. And then you win the money and take it. So like I was just like, fuck it, and it was fun. And I think since then I've always just loved music and like moving my body and getting in the feminine and just being sexy, wild and free, and dancing to me, like, it gets you in your body as a woman and also gets you in that sort of feminine sexual energy, and I think it's good to be in that as a woman.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, no
Thanks
worries.
for your time.
Thanks for having me on here. It's been really nice.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.